Good morning, traders. I hope we're all doing well. Welcome to Trade Setup in the live stream for the 15th of November. It's getting ever so closer to Christmas. Hope we're all getting prepared. Fair bit of work to do if you've got kids, as you'd know. So, bit of shopping to get through, and then the fun will begin over Christmas and New Year. Now today, obviously, anything you want to send through, again, just send it through to support@tradesetup.com.au. And you can also just send it through, if you're on chat, send it to the chat, just put in a comment into the chat of what code you want to look at. We'll start off, we'll go through what the market's done, a bit of a market wrap from overnight and how the market's fared this morning on the ASX 200, and then we'll just go through, we're going to take a look at gold today. Gold's our focus. We've spoken about this probably over the last week or so, and gold has taken a bit of a hit. We'll go through how we view the current price action on actual physical gold, and we'll take a look at some stocks that we're keeping an eye on, and what could potentially be setting up longer term. Any questions, feel free just to put them into chat as we're going along, and once we get through that, we've got a couple of other little things to look at. We've had a couple of emails through just on a couple of stocks. So one we actually looked at is JHX, James Hardy. We sent out an alert, I think yesterday or the day before. Memory's not the world's best, but we'll take a look at that, just the chart on that, the technical view on that, and then we'll also, there was one other stock, I just got to remember myself, let me just quickly get those up. James Hardy, it was pulling WFD. Alright. Yes. Sorry, Paul, I just saw your second email coming through. We'll take a look at it anyway if you want. Yeah, it looks like you've just noticed the alert. No worries. We might have a quick look at that anyway. Bit of chat if you want. We'll look at Westfield anyway. WFD. All right. So we all know overnight the market. If you can hear that, just give me a second. It's just the dump truck at the back. He's just coming past. So the market overnight, we had the US. I think the E-mini, the futures were pretty much flat per point. Didn't gain or didn't lose anything overnight. Pretty much a dead night. I think they opened up fairly strongly and gave it up into the session. Tried to continue on what it did on Friday, Thursday, but it just couldn't get on with it. I think it's getting a bit extended to the top side. We might take a look at that in a minute as well. But yeah, they finished flat for the session. I think the Dow was down slightly. We had Europe. I think they were both up, DAX and the FTSE, the ones we look at mainly. You've also got the Euro stocks. If people want to look at the Euro stocks, that's probably a broader index, quite good to look at. I'm not sure what that actually did, but the two key ones you got, obviously the FTSE and the DAX were just like your smiley face. Yeah, those two were both up slightly. Not a lot, not huge gains, but yeah, they were up. We had gold did back off a few more dollars after a big push down on Friday night, about $40. It carried on only about a couple of dollars, I think, last night. And crude oil, I think, it bounced slightly. They've got a meeting on oil, an OPEC meeting in November. Let me guess, mid-November. It's coming up. I think it's coming up very soon. On just whether they can cap or not, whether they can come to sort of some sort of agreement. Which, if they do come to some sort of agreement on production caps, you should see crude oil, start pegging back some ground. I think start at the moment. I haven't looked at crude for a while. The actual charts have just been following the price day by day. It's sort of holding between that, between 40 and $50. It gets up towards 50, it's sold off again. It comes down and it seems a bit stretched into 41, 42, $43, and then starts bouncing a bit. So I think anytime it pushes down, they talk about cap again, and it sort of supports it. Anytime it gets up there, they talk about the cap falling apart. The agreement falling apart. So it's sort of that news flow is really keeping it contained at the moment. Let's just take a look at. Let's kick it off on how the ASX was looking. So I just want to see what else I got there. Just checking Bloomberg. Let's not worry about that. So how are we all faring over the last couple of days? Pretty good. we've got our shorts are still holding in there. I don't know if for those of you that actually following the TradeSetup alerts, the alert service with as a Telstra, I think we just alerted that this morning. It's still pushing down to that 470 zone. We managed to take a profit at 480 on that big spike down over all that. Oh, I guess all the election hoo-ha. So yeah, that we did manage to take a partial profit, and obviously the day we took it, I think it did touch down at 480, bounce, and then the next day went through it down to 470. I think later on in the day, so we managed to get out of some of that, which is fine. That's good, taking the opportunity, and it's just sort of hanging around that 470 mark. It's still looking very weak on Telstra. Actually, we just get that up and quickly have a look. Yeah, 73, 74. We've just lowered our exit around 485 just on the remaining, just to lock in some gains on that. It's getting stretched on both the weekly and the daily. The longer term charts, I think even the monthly, is heading down to that oversold level, so it could easily go more, obviously, but just keeping things on the safe side. We're still looking for maybe that sort of accelerated move into 450, 450, 460 would be nice. Booking another 10 to 20 cents, that would be really good, and then just see how price action plays out from there. We've got another one, TGR Tassel, which really has done nothing the last few days. I want to see it. It seems like it's building a bit of a flag with minor, on the daily basis, lower highs, but some higher lows just in the end. If we can just push through 370, I'd expect it to push down to that zone 350. So that would be really nice. We've got our exit, I think, pretty much at break even at the moment, where we got in about 384. I can never quite remember, but yeah, those banks jumping around a bit. That's another thing. We were talking about the banks a while ago, and especially WBC. Key level was really through that 31, and it did break out of that, and then it's pretty much collapsed yesterday and today. It's sort of holding below that 31 again, so it had a big wash out of those minor highs. It's still on a daily basis still sort of in that contraction zone. It could just pop out and just pull back, build it. We want to potentially see another higher low, and then see if that can ride its way up. I think once it gets up towards that 33, 34 mark, and if we can get through there, I would be expecting that to kick on towards the highs, but we'll see how that goes. So I think soon there could be some action in banks. I think they're starting to at least show some kind of signs of support. Macquarie, yeah, good idea. No worries, Paul. Now let's just go over. Probably want to get through a bit today, so I just want to get through again the daily. This is the ASX. Now it is obviously, we talked about this yesterday on the daily basis. It's getting a bit stretched up at these levels. 53, 5400, 53, 50 even. It's getting a bit stretched up there. You've seen a few tails on the daily candles, and the MAs are down. We like to use the MAs just to get an idea of the overall bias and which way the market's heading. Obviously, it did head down quite strong into 50-50, actually 51-30 or thereabouts, 51-50, and then bounced. And that was prior to the election, I think, on all that hoo-ha about the FBI and the emails, when Hillary's looking like she's going to be in trouble. And then once it all come through, it got sorted out, bounced, no more Trump win, and lo and behold, we get that he won, massive push down to 50-50, and then bounce. But we are still looking a bit heavy up here. You can see, we've got these higher highs building, got a higher high here, created another high up at that 5600, and we built that lower high in and around, was it 5500, and that's what's taken us down to that support at 50-50. So if we are getting a bit heavy up here and we are a bit overbought, a bit stretched up into that zone, and if this can actually hold, these highs can hold, we should expect it to probably roll over. Now from there, obviously we spoke yesterday whether we just build a higher low from here and we start contracting a bit further. It may take a bit of time and then start pushing towards the highs, or if this lower high becomes quite major, we roll over and push through that 50-50 to lows, to 5,000, even below that 4,900. We'll see how we go. The 30-minute chart in the ASX, you can see it had a major level, a key level on the 30-minute basis anyway, which took it up through the highs at 53.24. That zone through here, it took it up through the highs, had a bit of a washout of the previous high, not strong at all, and you can see that the next following candles were pretty much just touching right at that resistance zone, and then we sold off from there, and then we started making lower highs, and that took us through that support. So that key level was broken, bit of a washout, we came back, retraced back, made another lower high, and that's just putting pressure on the market. The key level for me really at the moment is 53.35, just on that half an hour basis. We've got a major. This is really all just contraction in context to this holding. You can see this level here at what was it, 52, 53, 52.90. Is sort of holding that current leg up. We are just contracting down to that support zone. This type of price action is not really, it's not too negative, which is a good sign. Now if we can start building some higher lows and we get failed continuation lower, building those higher lows, that could take us back up through that 53.35 and then back up towards testing that 53.80 and even through that zone. We'll have to see how that plays out. If that starts coming under pressure and we start getting those little washouts and breaks and still building lower highs than that, you'd expect that accelerated move down. We'll see how that plays out. Looking at the Aussie. Aussie dollar, this is longer term. We've got a longer term sort of support level at 74.50, give or take a few points. This is a bigger view. It is a 4-hour chart, but there's quite a bit of data in there. If we just go right out, we can see that we've had a good leg up, a contraction of that leg, and that leg, the major leg at 71.50 zone, is holding at the moment. It hasn't really got us through those highs at the moment, and we're struggling around that 77.50 zone. We touched through that, so now we just want to see if this is going to be a good support zone to hold, even up further around that 7500, 75.15. Actually, we'll just draw that in. I've got that. If we can hold that sort of support zone in here and build some, so we can see we can build in lower highs, and we need that projected move through. Or is this going to be a washout of that 77.50, build a lower high, and I'll just draw that in. I like my pretty colors, sorry. Alright, if we build that lower high and just get failed continuation lower and then just project our way through support and just break these zones, and work our way down again. It'll be interesting to see if that happens on the Aussie. I still think we've got some probably inflationary pressures. We could be holding this up and pushing us up, but the problem is we've got US dollar strength, which is sort of capping it in a way. So that's why you can see it. I guess it's been sort of range bound for a while. A major range, but more range bound. Those MAs are not really going anywhere. The major structure, we still haven't got through those highs convincingly and attacked that 78.30 zone. So if we need this to hold up and build some high lows off that support, if we can sort of build up, pull back, hold that support and start getting that failed continuation lower, that should get us the emphasis or the leg to push up higher. We'll see how that goes. Any questions just on that Aussie or those at the moment? Just the Aussie and the ASX. I know Maria, I was gonna chat to you about if you're on, going to chat to you about the ASX 200. I know we spoke about that when I did that presentation in Adelaide, so I'm happy to jump on the phone to you and chat about that if you want. A bit later on down the track. Because I find it interesting anyway. I like trading the SPY, whether it's the SPY or the SPY futures, or you trade the ASX 200, they're pretty much the same price patterns, same structure. We want to focus on, maybe the levels are slightly different, but happy to chat about that. Now let's get into it. Let's take a look at gold. What we discussed. I don't know what everyone else's views are on gold, and we have to remember this in itself is not, it's not any advice. Just take it as hearsay, I guess. Don't take it as gospel. We don't want to, what we try not to do, if we take a look at this, we start off with a daily chart. What we try not to do is give any hard, firm advice of which way we think the market's going. The idea is to be, for us anyway, the way we structure everything, the way we trade, and the idea behind our trading is more to be risk management than anything else. It's not really trying to pick a direction and trade it that way, and just, because that way your headspace can, I find for myself anyway, headspace can be wrong. You tend to, if you think it's going up, you tend to get all moody. Well, I do anyway, moody and grumpy if it doesn't go up, and I get angry and you start doing revenge trading and things like that. So I try to keep a neutral stance on things and just trade. The idea, you've probably been told a million times, is to trade what you see, not what you think. I might have the view of this going up, and now if we start building lower highs into support, and I'm just trying to battle the market, I'm I'm going to get chopped up too much, and I don't want that to happen. So I try to keep neutral, and that also keeps your eyes open to the short side and long side, and both. So if you're actually going long for whatever reason, your setup says to go long, you're trading what you see, and then it doesn't work out. I mean, you got to remember you're going to be wrong too. There's nothing wrong with being wrong, but as long as you get out quick enough and you don't fight it, it could get you in a position to be right. Flick it over and go short. I don't know if anyone saw the SPY trades I did a while ago. Oh, that was just too longs. I mean, what happens a lot, sometimes you get the wrong bias of the market or the flow of the market, and that way getting in sometimes it's the best way to see the market is when you're on the wrong side of it. But always so keeping neutral. So if you're watching for signs of both short and long, you're not just looking for reasons to support your view. I know I'm probably getting sidetracked, but I think it's a good point to make. You're not looking for signs to support your view, you're just looking for signs where I should get out. Your risk management, again, back to risk management. Should I be in, should I be out? And so I find a lot on the SPY, if I'm jumping in the wrong side, if I go long, a lot of the times you start seeing it's just not working out, and I can either take it off at break even or a slight loss or even a slight gain, and just get out and reassess. And especially if you're long and you think it's going down, the pressure's down, then you look for a short setup. It gives you that opportunity to look with fresh eyes and just reassess it. And if you haven't made a lot of times I've made a small loss and make it back plus a bit more, then I'm net up for the day, just by trying to keep yourself open and not try to pick a direction, but just try to trade what you see. It gives you chances to get back in. Anyway, in saying all that, what I'm alluding to, I guess, is that support down at what we're seeing on gold at the moment has had that major sell-off. That really big push up to, was it 1337, 1340, but still holding that trend down. If we can draw just a line in there, I like the color code. So you can see that it's really only tested on support, on resistance, sorry. Maybe a bit of a washout, only a minor level. That was really a big hard spike up. That overall trend was down, even though it was coming back up, it was contracting back to the MAs. Big washout to the top side and then rolled over from there. And then we had that big $40 move down the other day, I think it was Friday night. But what I'm seeing is this market is getting a bit extended into support. No reason why it can't keep going, but that's just, one point. We're sort of getting away from the MAs, which that's just, it's like I guess you put it to like an elastic band. It can only stretch so far. If you think of the market like that, a lot of the times it can keep going. Never buy purely because it looks stretched. Always buy on a setup if you're going to go against the flow. Say in gold, for example, if the market's stretched into resistance, don't just sit on the offer. I'd prefer just to I'd prefer to attack it with a setup. That's something that look like we're starting to see failure in the market. So yeah, that's what I like to think of market. Elastic band, it's stretched so far before it's got to come back in and get the energy. Like Davin's always said, it's got to put participants on the side. If everyone's short, the market gets stretched, everyone's short on the downside, and there's no one left to sell, it's got to come back. People got to either profit take, it's got to come back to wash people out, put them on the sidelines ready to go down again, and get that energy to push it back down if it's going to keep going that way or continue. So yeah, what we're seeing here is gold on a daily. It's got a major zone at that, say 1200. It's getting stretched down there. To me, it's looking a bit stretched on a daily basis. You can see it's in oversold. So the probability of it continuing is getting a bit limited, continuing lower, especially when it's come from those highs. If things are just to come from a high up at say $100 higher and just go bang straight through, cut straight through without even a pullback, it's getting more to the unlikely. Okay, so if we just start bouncing off there and build some lower highs, then you'd be a bit concerned. But at the moment, we're looking a bit stretched into that level, and really that trend is still holding us. That's a daily, daily. So major leg up. We've had that first leg up from, where are we, about 1050 down here up to about that 1270. Had a bit of a correction, a bit of consolidation, held that base at 1200, and then moved our way up to 78 thereabouts, so $170 on that side. And what was that one? Say 1050 up to about, so that was about more like $200 rally, the first sort of leg up, and then we had that secondary leg up. So if we go right out, this is sort of the interesting thing too. I think my computer's getting a bit slow in its old age. You can see major resistance around that 1415. not really resistance zone as such. You can see those lower highs sort of pushing down. That's pushed through the lows or not. You can see this. Actually, you can't. If I move that across, you can see this price action. Okay, we've had a major double top up here, and that price action gets, when it's coming down, it's more aggressive. You're getting those sharp sell-offs, and then you're really extending lower, then contracting back, really extending lower. And what we're seeing now is more to be running out of steam. As we go from the left to right, it's had that push lower, couldn't, just pull up short of the lows, come back, made a lower high. It's tried again, had to push back up, made a lower high again, pushed back in, another lower high. It's only just took out the lows, sort of this zone. Where was that? Around 11:30, and it's done it only gradually. But what we're looking at now, what we're starting to see is this potentially just been a higher low, building that nice little base to project up and through, 1370 or thereabouts. We don't know, but that it could be on the cards. We just have to really watch the lower time frames. Just watch the lower time frames just to see. I mean, this could easily hold and be, another major lower high in this zone, and then roll over straight through that. So you really, like I said before, trade what you see, not what you think. You get yourself in too much trouble. Now let's go to 30-minute chart. When was that? 11:30. That was the 9th. So we've had that push up. That was that was on the back of the election. Push up to 1337, and then just roll over from there. We've made lower highs, holding lower highs. At the moment, we're still sort of holding. We have got that touchdown at 1212. A couple of times. Built a minor high low just in here, 1217. We could just extend up and through, but still hold that trend down, because the next key level is right up here at 1265, say, and that's sort of holding that leg down. So we could contract up to it and then roll over and go down. We don't know what's going to happen, and that's looking a bit overbought and opposite to the daily. So we could get a bit of argy-bargy for a while down at these support on the daily basis, but like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. So gold's, if it is starting to find the base and we're starting to get somewhere and we could pop up from here, then what do we want to do? We want to start looking at some stocks. So let's get into that. Any questions on those gold charts? I'll just wait. Just got a quick sip of my coffee. All right. Yeah, Davin's just put up a good note. Just mentioned that there's got quite a few. You can get off different sites, but quite a few is a skew to the long side at the moment. Quite a few clients are sort of based long to the long side on gold, so a pullback could be limited. So if that's the case, that could stand. And with what else we said on the daily basis, it could stand us in good stead for a bit of a bounce. But obviously, you don't know where it's going to go. Don't take it for gospel or just going on from here. It's the next major leg up in gold. We don't know, but just taking that into account. Let's look at. Just drill down. We've got a list here of a few that we're looking at. We've got DCN. I don't even know how to say that, and don't pick on me if I get it wrong. Is Dacian Gold. We've got that one. That's a gold miner with interest in Turkey. No, sorry, wrong one. I'm way off there. It's exploration and development. It's got assets mainly in WA, with a lot of these pretty much the same. We've got Saracen Minerals. We're just keeping an eye on. They've got assets in WA as well. I think it's called Exploration and Development, not a producer. Northern Star, I'd like to look at. That's gold. That's in production. So, if you want something nice and solid, I guess I don't know if anyone follows how a lot of the companies go. What gold chart? That's just the spot gold. Sorry, Jordan. That was a spot gold. It was on the CFD, but it's same pricing, same price structure. So if you keep an eye on spot gold, not the futures, that you'd find that I'll probably have very similar structures anyway. So what I was saying with gold, and a lot of the small miners and things like that, they go into. Now I've got to remember myself. Before they go into production, obviously there's a lot of stages. They first get the tenements, and they get some good tenements, and they've so people jump in on the basis of that. The more aggressive traders. Before anything's actually proven, get major tenements. It's obviously, it could be in a gold belt, a well-known area which has got other producers around there, around the similar area, then obviously people are jumping on the back of that. They start drilling their testing and drilling their little samples, taking out samples to different depths, checking it out, and what they're trying to do is really put enough holes in there to be able to define a resource. And once they get a resource and they get a JORC compliant resource, that means they know once they get to that stage, that's a good kick up in price. That should give it a good kick up in price anyway. That gives them a good resource base to work from, so then people can actually assess it a bit better. You're not guessing what's in the ground. You're actually getting more of an assessed view of what's in the ground. And we know what the dollar price of gold is, around the 1200, 1220 mark, so we can sort of assess what that company's worth if they start going into production. So obviously the next stage is to build and go into production and start producing that gold. So once they get to there's different stages of a mine life and things like that. And then they might have one good tenement, then they go to the next one, do the same, go into production on one, and start testing the other at the same token, obviously, and building up from there. So it's a different view, having something where the defined resource, and they could keep increasing that resource as they keep drilling out, expanding their resource base. But once something's actually in production, the difference between that and something that's just in exploration and then just going through that testing stage, it could be good fun sometimes trading those. They can really take off on the back of news events when something's coming out. So, I mean, not that but just keeping an eye on the price action and seeing that something could be building and buying off good price structure, good handy price structure, looking at what's happened in the past, what they've announced in the past, and if you get a good catalyst, good announcement, it could really kick that price up. Whereas, I guess the producers are more inclined to go up and down with the price of gold. All right, let's keep going through. I don't even know where we're up to. NST, Northern Star. Now, Northern Stars are into production and exploration still, with based sort of around WA. We've got SBM, St Barbara Limited, which it's had a very good run up. It's really contracting lower at the moment, and it has been belted a bit the last. I guess this is on a weekly basis too. You can see that contraction in it. Tried to make a bit of a run up there. It was trying to hold support, and then really with that move around in gold lately, it's just been sold off quite hard. I think they had a news catalyst as well. I'm not sure exactly what's happened there. Produce and explorer in WA and Papua New Guinea, so that's a bit different. That's St Barbara. AQG. I'm just looking at the chart. That doesn't look handy at all. Except for there, maybe. All right. We're AQG's gold miner with interest in Turkey. We've got EVN. EVN is a mining exploration it's based around Queensland and WA as well. It's got 6 mines, I think. 6 mines it sits working on. So they're sort of probably in that exploration stage and just trying to build up their JORC compliant resource. Evolution Mining, so it still does some good volume there. We kind of like that one. We've had that one before, done really well. I think it was this leg up. Anyway, it was somewhere in there. Start of the end of last year. I think it was more the start of the year 2016. We got some of that move up there. EVN, Newcrest. We all know Newcrest, I guess. If we're following, obviously the bigger one. I think it's a 17 billion market cap. It's a producer, obviously, in Australia. It's got a lot of areas in Australia, Asia, and Africa. So that's quite a big one there. We'll look at that. TAM's more of a small cap, really a small trading stock, but it could have that potential to really spike. And we obviously don't know what's going to happen with that. But that price structure, we've been looking at this a bit just lately. It's looking good. It's still looking good, even after it's gold and mucking around in gold and that sell-off in gold. Still holding up, still looking okay. Technically anyway, so we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Just obviously going through what we're trying to do really today is just building a base around gold and what we think could potentially happen in gold, and then looking at the stocks and just trying to get an idea of what could move and what may not. Nothing to us just set up at the moment, so that's what we're obviously looking for. That's part of the overall picture. Going through building that view where we want to look, what area. Gold has got potential, obviously. We still think that. And then just obviously alerting through our TradeSetup app, alerting for the entries. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, go to the website I had up before. Actually, I'll just get it up again. TradeSetup.com.au. Just have a look at the app. I think it's a 5-day free trial. Jump on there. You can see the alerts coming through, how they work, getting a feel for the app. But yeah, what we do through there is just put through the setups and what we like to see, the type of style of trading we do. And so far, so good. TAM, GOR, Gold Road Resources. We've been in this one as well previously. Not as big as some of the others, obviously bigger than TAM. That's exploring WA. I think TAM, what I just mentioned before, was in WA and Northern Territory, so it's exploration as well. So there's still, I guess, probing their tenements. And last one really is Perseus. That one's is, you can see just here, building some price structure. So what we'll do now, obviously we know Perseus, it's a bigger one on the list we just said. Operations, sale of gold it's in Ghana and West Africa, so a bit of a mixed bag there. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jordan. It's got SBN St. Barbara, their mine didn't come up to valuation, so that's interesting. It is about can be BDR, PRU. So Perseus will go through in a sec. BDR. What? A quick look at that. Beetle Resources. Let me just go back and have a quick look. There's a gold producer company. Okay, Promise and I can't even say that. Tucano gold project located in Brazil. Also has exploration tenements throughout Australia and Brazil. Alright, now that looks good. From a chart perspective, yeah, it's a bit the same as the other. We had a obviously major push up. This is a monthly major push up. Well, let's just go on. Sorry, go somewhere else. Resources, okay. On that daily, it's not looking too bad. You're going to find some support down here. Yeah, we could find some support around that 35 mark. But then it has been sold off quite hard into that zone. It could be a bit extended at the zone. So you're just really looking to see how the market reacts off this zone at 34, 35, or 36 even. See if we can build, failed continuation line. It could just build a major, pump back up, catch everyone off guard, build a major lower high, and then roll over through that 34. We have to see how that goes, but yeah, we could be seeing a major lower high just on a weekly. It could wash out some lows and then build and go again. I don't know. It's done it previously as well. Anyway, that's interesting. Let's just take a look at some of the charts on these. Okay, any questions, anything anyone else has looked at just on gold there? Any other stocks? There you go, just have another sip. Just keeping going there. What do we got? Let's just take a look at get my little charting package, RSG. Alright, we'll have a look at that in a sec. Alright, so I just want to quickly, it's just going to be a real basic view of the charts, some support areas, what we think. This is DCN. Let's just take a look here. Alright. I won't go through all of them actually, because we're going to get through a few other things. Half an hour. Alright. So support, about 3 to 310. Got support level through here, maybe more likely 310. I guess we had a bit of a washout just yesterday. We'll have to see if that's good, but it's been held down at the moment at 360. We've got another resistance level through up towards 390, 95. But that, it could be just sort of contracting in. If that can hold it, it could wash out the lows, $3 wash out, but only just hold that support, this rising support here. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Especially if gold does start to hold up above 12 and start building those higher lows. If we can get that scenario, what we tend to find and what we tend to watch for is that the gold stocks are preemptive of gold move. No setup yet. Yeah, take a look at those too. So yeah, what we're seeing here is a bit of contraction. We've got some lower highs holding down, really just pressuring that on the short side, but support is still holding up at 310. So we wouldn't mind, even if it does wash out support. You may get that big, not a big washout, but bid move down and pop back up and just start building contracting and then go. And then if we can get that sort of price action, a bit of a washout, and build those higher lows, and then look for an entry, just to see if it can actually push up. But you can see price, holding that support, the rising support, and it could also just be contracting in on itself. We get a move in gold, we might start seeing that sort of price action play out. Let's just go to, what's the next one? Saracen. Let's get on the weekly. Alright. Saracen there, don't know what keeps coming up there. It's got a major level through here. I think it's touched down a few times. Had that reaction off there. That was a long time ago, obviously. And it's just, you can see that sort of base we do like. That type of price action, big curving sort of base there. It starts building those higher lows, and then you get moves taking out these highs. Can wash out a few lows, but holding major levels, holding a higher low, and then it's working its way up back up to 90 after that move up through there previously. Did pull back, had come back, retested, and then it's gone up, had a good leg up here. So it's had a few good legs up. What it is really just contracting. When you have that nice sharp move up after this long-term basing through here, this long-term move that's quite a lot. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 years, say 3 to 4 years, and it's built, and you get these sharp legs up. It's likely everything's got to contract after that, especially after a nice strong move. You expect some sort of contraction lower, but what we'd want to see, this is a weekly, obviously, it's getting to that. You can see well, that's not really good, but you can see that sort of down on that oversold level. It's for it to keep moving down strong. It's starting to get a bit stretched away. You expect some sort of reaction, whether it's we find some support in here, find a bid somewhere, $1, $1.05, $1.10, we don't know. Hold up about $1.90. If you get that strong move up, had a stronger move down, we may get this sort of price action, a bit more contraction. We start to feel, and then if we can do that and just pop up, that's what we'd like to see. Especially, again, this is based around gold actually holding up and starting to rally. Obviously, these stocks look ahead, so if we can get that price action, that'd be nice, something to keep an eye on too. But we are getting that contraction, which is nice, especially after this big strong move up. Alright, Northern Star. Yeah, it's washing either side of that market at the moment. Fairly similar. Let's just go to a weekly, actually. Alright. Have we all seen that okay? Yep. That's probably a bit better. So what we are seeing, okay. Oh, yep. So I hope we all saw that pop up from Devin. Just put a comment there. If you'll find the resolution on the actual presentation on this stream a bit low, just go over the stream and just change that. Yeah, the little cog button, and just click on to 720, I think it is, and it's go to a higher resolution there anyway. All right, let's so we're finding a good sort of base. Let's push through here. We've got that consolidation just bouncing around in there. We popped out through the highs, and then we come back and made a good little higher low there, and that's sort of taken us up. We had a leg up, contraction, another leg up, not only minor contraction. We started to get a bit, the accelerated moves. We like to see that, especially when you get that a pop up, builds a high low out of this basing type of period. It comes up, and then you get those people that are starting to watch it, whatever their reasoning is, whatever their risk factors are. We don't know. We like to see this type of move. You get a pop up through a high, pull back and make a high low off a support level, and then just try to get, if we can get in there and get something like that, that's what we love to see. And that gives us a bit of a run up, because we know that's previously broken. That support, it gives us a bit of an early entry. That way, if we just get up there and roll over, then we might have something up our sleeve to call it break even or call it a small profit. But you can see, so we had that leg up, contraction lower, then you start to get more accelerated moves up and minor, shallow retracements, and then you get a nice accelerated move up. And that's when obviously gold started to roll over. So when you start getting that higher acceleration, it's a higher probability in my mind that we're going to see a bigger contraction, and then you start seeing these sharper moves down, and we've got that bit of a pop up, and we're starting to see that pullback. Whether we hold in here, we don't know, but again, it's that similar type of price action. We've got a key level more or less down at 330, thereabouts. And if we can just come in and start, whether we see contraction, but just holding some high lows for that move up, and then start to get these accelerated moves and shallow pullbacks again. All right, so that's the type of thing we want to see. And then I think a lot of these stocks are starting to, they're not set up, but they're starting to enter in that prime, that zone where we really keep an eye on them. So obviously there's a few factors to play out. Just go Northern Star. We're probably, yeah, not much to say on that one. I think that one needs a good correction. And you can have, it's come off a really strong base there. This is SBM, St. Barbara. It's got through these highs at 3, you know, this is on a monthly even. At $3, it really started to struggle. You see the lower highs building, and then we started getting contraction lower, taking out these lows, making lower lows, lower highs. Could be just longer term contraction of this major leg up. But yeah, at the moment, I'll just be happy to keep an eye on that one. Oz Minerals, and that's not one, don't worry about that. AQG, that's on a weekly basis. That's had a major sell off, you can see there, but again, we can just draw that up. So all this stuff, I guess you can just, if you've got any questions you've missed out on, just review the charts. If there's anything you want to go through. Didn't need to do that. So we've got a major good support down around the $2 mark, and we're starting to see, you know, it's just pushed up a few times. So it's really just, you know, hovering. We've seen that push down. So this is why I wouldn't want to just sit on the bid. I want to see a setup, and we really not seen that. You had that move down, and then just consolidating through there. And that's been quite a while actually. I think it's been a few years. If that's, let me just check. Yeah, so that's about 13, mid 2013, 14, 15, 16, about 3 years. So it's been banging around in through there, holding between $2 and $3.50. But you can see just here it's starting to pop out towards the top, trying to hold that $3 level, and it's just been recently we've sold off through there. So now what you want to see is just it start to build. If we can through here, if we pushed up through, we started to get this type of price action through here around the highs, and then we've rolled over. You made another minor one. What we want to see, rather than it get down to that $2 zone, or just start to hold up above it. Start to see that type of price action. We start building some higher lows again. Whether we get contraction or just build a nice good higher low, and then start, well, maybe not that, but start to work our way back up again. And it'd be nice to see just under here, after building that higher low, under here building another higher low, just for that really push up through and just wash out through 350 and get up, and then we start getting those accelerated moves. All right, so that's, again, not set up. It's based around gold. We'll see how that goes. Don't want that. What did I just look at? AQG, EVN. It could be a major. This is on a monthly chart. With a major level through here, the 40-50 zone. It's pushed up through those sort of highs at $2. So from now, if that's the case, we might see some contraction in, and we want to see on a daily basis, some. At the moment, we just washed out those lows at 210, but we also did wash out the highs at 260. So it could just be one of those stocks that wash out levels before pulling back in and going. And again, when you get those stocks done, they start doing a bit more. It's $12 million today. Higher volume, they tend to wash a bit, just because they know that that's a key level. They wash it out. You can see that's a key level at 260, where it's sold off through. It's held $2.10, so it just popped up through there on that positive day, then rolled over and it's popped up down below that 210 zone. So they can do that quite a bit, but through that $2 zone, it's sort of tagged it once, washed it out, pulled back, contracted off, built a higher low, pushed up through, retest, and had that leg up to $3, and we're just sort of contracting back down there. So if they can hold above 2 and we start seeing again, even if we see a washout, then a higher low, that'd be nice, and that could just continue on that leg, that major leg you can see above $2, wash it out, retest. We know there's probably going to be some buyers under there, some stops under there, or whatever, and then go. We'll see how that goes. What have we got? EVN, Newcrest, a bit of the same in a way. Yeah, good run up there, obviously right up until 2011-12. Big sell-off through the GFC. It was after the GFC, wasn't it? Yeah, 2008. Miles after the GFC. All right, push down, hold below tested 10, made some higher lows, and it's pushed up from there. That's on a monthly. You see that sort of through that 10 to 12 to $14. Some failed lows popped up. It's nothing too serious, and we start getting some more accelerated moves. So whether we just get a contraction, build, and then we get another good move, good strong move up through these highs at 27, even through 30, and so on, and sort of attack this region up here at 38 to 40. We don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. But I think there's still a fair bit of work to do on a lot of these. New crest. This is one we obviously, like we said, stubborn bugger all today. Not a lot. Not a lot of volume on that one, obviously. But that sort of price structure you see is quite nice. It's been belted down. It's held that for a few years now, and starting to build those higher lows. So sooner or later you'll start seeing buyers would be happy to step in. Let's just draw that one actually. I think I'd like to draw. All right. So we're starting to get. You can see that type of price action again. So that scooping price action there, I guess you'd say. Again here, you've got level through here. It's sort of pushed up through, pulled back, made a lower high, and just it didn't really get through that $4 too well, and then it started getting held up. There's minor high lows, and then we started getting that move up. Good acceleration through here. It would have been a nice little entry through there after that high low was built. And what you're doing there is really just targeting at least that resistance at 650, and just see. But that's a nice strong move up. Obviously, after a good, pretty much vertical move, you start getting that contraction, holds some lows down above $6, build that high low. Once you see that high low, we like that, especially after the break. This just in here. I don't know if everyone can follow my little lines. You got this type of price section in here. Let me draw a little circle. That's that's nice seeing that pop up, and this is what makes it hard. As you see that pop up, a lot of people just jump in, buy on a breakdown, and they under a bit of pressure. You've got to hold your stops quite wide, I guess. But really, if that's the way you trade, buy on a break up through there. You're looking for that next leg up. You've got to hold your stops on there. Now sometimes you get tagged, it just pops up, it still holds below the high. That's a major lower high, bang, you get washed out again in context of this leg up. So that's just something to keep an eye on. We like to see it pop up, build another high low, because that's just confirmation for us that we're going to go, something's going to happen. Would have been a bit harder to buy that one, but you can see that vertical move up again, and then we're getting that contraction lower. So what we're liking now is to see if we can hold $8. So we've got that support. It's had that sharp move up. We've come back in. This sort of price section here. See if we can hold up, even if we get a bit of a wash. Start building higher lows. Potentially contract a bit and then pop. That would be nice when we get through that. What is it, about 950 thereabouts? That would be nice to see that type of price action, but we'd like to see a high low type of thing build. Alright, not much more. GOR, Gold Road, along the same line. So longer term it's still up. You can see that even though it's got belted around on gold, spot gold and stuff, it's still holding high lows, which is nice. We want to see probably a bit more contraction in here, maybe retest 52.5, that'd be nice, and then build some high lows, some failed continuation lower, build that high low and then pop up, see how that goes. Perseus, it's not too bad on a weekly basis. See, it's done a lot of work down here, obviously big sell off through here, a lot of work down here, and we're starting actually, I think we'll just draw that one because it's got some potential, don't mind it as such. Alright, we've got, so it's coming off a good strong base here, broke through these, that sort of 41 zone, had a good accelerated move up. You can see that contraction lower, built a high low, another move up. Really, it's just more washy than anything, a bit choppy. That push through there, and then you get that retest with this lower high in here. You're sort of expecting these lows to be attacked again, which they were. The thing is, they are holding up. If I can just draw that, they're holding up. So that move down there just to retest this low, that's nice. And then you see that high low, retest down here, and then we're starting to get that price action taken out the inside lower highs through here. We've had another push up through that to that point, 66 mark. So it's really just bouncing around longer term. So what we'd like to see is that if that price action, you can see it's sort of swinging down to that oversold level, and it's sort of holding up above 46. If we can build, we can see that. All right, that's support through there. If we can, I've just got to draw this. If we had that move, so tested support, we've had that push up to our resistance zone, which is just up here. We've contracted lower, so if we can start getting this type of price action, just contracting in some minor lower highs, higher lows, contracting in, and then starting to build for that pop, and that's what's going to drag in buyers, building that higher low in context of this overall market, and that we then would probably be at least targeting 66, a retest to 66, even a push out through. So we've got to remember that that's probably going to be a bit of resistance, and then we'll be looking for at 66. If we do get that leg, we build that price action, we get that up there, a pullback, more than likely we'll probably see a pullback, and then we want to see it build under there and then pop, and then you might get these shallow pullbacks and acceleration high like we've spoken about just previously. All right, does that make sense there? Any questions? Sorry, I haven't checked the email, but yeah, just chat about that, and that's it. We've gone over BDR, Perseus. So we've got a couple here. That's not what I want to do. Just get a chart up. Resolute mining, isn't it? Resolute. It's a bit along the same lines. We're in that contraction off those highs at 210. Bit of a wash out of the highs, contracting back in. So I'd say we are getting to that zone. You're starting to get to a level where we'd be searching for support to come in. Some failed continuation lower, but it looks to me it's got a lot of work to do, especially after these last few days. It's really extended low, so definitely wouldn't be jumping in just yet. I can't see any level where it could just pull up short, but yeah, it's got a fair bit of work to do on that, I'd say. FMG, no worries. It's from the new guy in today. Hope you're listening. FMG, let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's gone quite hard. The one thing, again, it's kind of tough to discuss because, and we haven't traded this one obviously. Let's just draw it up. Just draw where we might see some action reaction, just levels that we could be of concern. All right. So this is major, support right through there. We're starting to get up in that zone at $7. I would expect a bit of action off there, a bit of reaction off there. We don't know. It's also having around just above that $6 mark. This is a monthly, so we'll drop the daily in a second. But just remember, I guess what we're looking at here, just on the monthly, the key levels just above 6, up towards 7. So yeah, it's sort of heading in that. It is getting to that zone where we, again, saying overbought is one thing, but actually markets can easily continue in their own, they get to that stochastics are overbought or any sort of, it is an indicator. It's named an indicator for a reason. It's just an indication. It's not actually, don't trade off them. I don't like to trade off them. I like, first and foremost, we like to watch price action and what's happening, and then I try to read into the price action of what's going on. Sorry, Susan, if you could we've got what is the buy point just on, I probably wasn't concentrating, what stock in particular. We'll pop back and have a look. Yeah, so we popped, this is FMG, so we still popped into that resistance there. It's getting a bit stretched. It's had a good, from support to resistance, continued move up. But in context of that, we might be, it's a longer term. It's just been bouncing around, touched down a couple of times, double bottom at 150. It's touched up at this region a couple of times too, holding down, push right down and push straight back up again. So we might just get there, starting to build those lower highs and then go from there. So we want to see that type of price structure where we get those lower highs before really looking on the short side. But on the same token, if we get, that's a resistance, that's at 6, if we've pushed up there and we just pull back, a nice little correction, and we start building higher lows, you just want to be concerned on that. yeah, just be concerned on what's actually happening. We need to see the price action before anything, not just guess what's going to happen, but see that price action build for signs of either weakness or strength. And sometimes they could build it up if they build this type of structure up at a resistance point like that $6 or even at $7. If it gets up there, we don't know. At the moment, it hasn't shown anything. This is just off the monthly as well. We'll drill down to a daily. It's not showing us anything at the moment. If you start seeing this failed continuation through and just build these lower highs, that's going to bring in some selling. You'd expect it to bring in some sellers anyway, as people have bought it in here, even halfway at $4, whatever profit taking. That's going to lead to some sort of profit taking, you expect. And then from there, we don't know what's going to happen, but we start potentially looking on the short side, but we'll see. But if you get that reaction straight, a good reaction off, don't know where, could 455, who knows, and then start building those higher lows, then we just want to be concerned it's going to continue back either through 6 to 7, we don't know. Just go to a daily just to see what that looks like. Whoopsie daisy. But remembering that it's around that $6 level there, that to me on a daily chart, there's no sign of it just yet. Apart from being extended into that $6 on the monthly, so the monthly's sort of getting overbought, a bit stretched. The daily's a bit stretched. Probably the weekly is too. Looking at that, yeah, it's pretty similar. At the moment, for me, there's nothing saying that it's going to break down. It could. I mean, I'm guessing there's a number of people thought that in here. Okay, we'll sell it in here. Really, in context to this low, that leg up, contracted lower, still holding the highs, still holding that level at 250. Pops up, starts going on again, contract back, go up. A lot of contraction in here around the $5 mark. Some lower highs, but still the higher lows are holding. So the overall trend's up. You're going to be biased to the upside, I guess. And then just see how it goes. And it sort of keeps. It looks to be keep washing out. Bringing in the short sellers keeps washing them out. So it could just be. It's had a good little run up here. You expect again a vertical move up. You'd expect it to be followed by a bit of contraction lower, just to wash out a few long positions and then jumping in. But again, I'd say there's a few days left before we see anything start to show. I hope that helps. Anything else? JHX, I know Paul was looking at that. We sort of loaded that. Now this one we're looking at, obviously, but not. Let me just draw it. Stumbling through my words, I'll just draw it up. Okay, we're gonna have to call it soon anyway. Call it quits in a second, but alrighty. So you can see, leg up, contraction, leg up, contraction. You can see where the lower highs coming in, and then once they start failing, you get a little high low in here, some high lows in there, again through here. I probably should have drawn. Not very good at my English. So you can see through here, a bit of contraction in. We built that high low, had that leg up, and again through here, holding lower highs, builds some high lows, pops out. It's a pretty deep pullback, but still holding context, holding structure and popping up. And you get a leg up through here, and then sort of rinse and repeat, I guess. Same type of thing. We got some high lows in here. Could have been a little buy in here, but really you're still holding that contraction lower. It's sort of once we get through here, which you see that pop through that minor inside high, and then we got pop through that, I guess, that downtrending market. Pretty short on that point. I'll have a quick look too. That might answer Anne-Marie a bit too. Yeah, so higher lows, we've seen that. So we got another leg up. So really we're looking for another, again, that contraction phase lower. Okay. Encourage infrastructure development. I reckon JHX will benefit. Yeah, so what we're viewing is really this structure. We want to see that hold. So we want to see areas where we're starting to fail. We've got the big washout here. You can see a big rejection in there. And that sort of alerts you to interest. We've got also down here, we've got the horrible little line that starting to form a bit of a W pattern, which it's pushed down, a big washout, and that's, I guess, a lot of people look at it as divergence. Either way, I don't really care. It's just down there, So that's just that leg down is it's pushed down. starting to run out of steam, you'd think is the probability of it keep going down once it's oversold is getting a bit lower. So the probability of turning is getting a bit higher. Just view it that way. So what we want to see is that move down, and we want to see maybe a pop up and even that contraction and those high lows holding, and then it gives us a target, an entry type of thing. So we can see, again, like we said before, risk management. It's all about risk management. So when you get that leg down, we know in context to all this, we've had that leg up, contraction lower, we're into contraction, we're looking to come out of contraction into expansion, we're getting some high lows build, we've got our risk, and then essentially if we start getting that and we've got a level to attack, a breakout through a level, then essentially we're going to get our like our trade setup, that type of price action. Okay, so that's sort of what we're looking for here. Still early days yet, but yeah, I think something's on the cards there, but we'll keep an eye on that. All right, last thing, we'll just quickly look at this ASX 200 again. I hope you don't mind me jabbering on a bit. All right, 200. Australian 200 support at 5,300. Would you use short on 5,300? Let's look at the actual pure XJO. Me personally, the way I would view that at 53, looking at the daily, it's not showing anything on the daily. You'd have to go down to intraday. All right, let's just have a quick look at that. So that's a 30-minute chart there of the XJO. So if we just go back, so in context, what we're looking at there, Susan, is just rolling over and looking for a short, potentially into 5,200. We don't know. That's what you sort of got. Is okay. All right. So we've got this trend through here. It potentially could be broken. We've looked at that quite a lot a while ago, around 53, with that big washout. Now, whether it's just contracting, this overall major, contracting lower. I don't know if you can see it. Let's just draw those two a different color. You've got that major sort of support through here, highs through here, 5,400 give or take. Whether we're just getting the early signs of it popping out, that pop out through 54, contracting back in, holds 50, builds that high, lower, 50-50, we don't know, and then popping back up. That's on a daily basis, so we could just build that high, low. It still could be a short in that for sure. But that could be in context that we could be looking to hold up 50-50 after all this longer term price action through here. And don't forget, we're coming down into that level from highs, I don't know where from, 58, 6,000, thereabouts. Pushing down into that support, we've washed out here, started building high lows, may just be contracting back in, we start holding some high lows again and then pop up. So really, if you're going to short around there, what I want to look at is some is go down to a 30-minute chart. Let me just quickly see what we got. Intraday, 30-minute, there we go. Let's just get a chart up of that. And we'll just finish it off there as well. So without giving any advice, obviously, I know it might get a bit repetitive to you guys about advice and not, this saying this, that, and the other, but it's something we just have to keep an eye on. But yeah, it's sort of important for us, I guess. So if we don't say too much, don't take it too personally. Yeah, so 52.90. I think that's sort of the key level at the moment. We've looking at that on a, your big washout. It's really just a massive washout of that support zone down to 50-50. Pop straight back up, taking out these highs. 53.10 say, building that little inside higher low, and then we've gone up through there, but there's nothing significant. We had that push up through, and then we just broke through that level. If you can see that, so now we're starting to potentially, and that coincides with that rejection bars on the daily chart and potential rollover in the daily chart. So, I mean, by all means, you sort of going into that 52.90. What I'd ideally, well, I would like to look at it. Again, no advice, but we're just popping up. We've got that type of price action through there, and then we're starting to, build. What I'd want to see is that, where are we now? We're sort of, say we're in here. That's at support zone 53. What I'd want to see is it changing colors. I'd want to see a push through, and that's say 52.90 through here. And then what I want to be looking at, I'd ideally like to see that. So once you get that wash out of a key zone, 52.90 say, it may pop back in. Then I think you start to see, because this could easily just, from here, it could just pop and start going this way. We don't know, and just take it out, and just because what it'll do, catch people off guard again. They're looking for a short. It's overextended on a daily. Nothing to say it can't keep going. So I'd want to see that type of price action. I mean, it could just go boom straight down. I guess it's tough, but that's the way it goes. But that's what I'd be looking for, and then I could keep my risk as a short, keep my risk in here, if that makes sense. So you've got that sort of price action in there, pop through, and then we know we've got to bounce back into it, push back up, building some lower highs. We've got my risk, everything's set up, bang, give it a go. If not, you could be looking to build some high lows just in here, and then push its way back up through this sort of resistance zone. But we'll see. I hope that helps. Alright guys, we're going to have to call it quits there. Thank you very much again for joining us. Yeah, remember, feel free to tell anyone that you know that might be interested, or people that just want to look at it after. You can always go to the YouTube site and just review it, rehash it. If there's any mistakes I did make, which, I'm not being arrogant, but I never make many mistakes, which I did actually yesterday. I said something about the US dollar being short when it was going up, and I thought about that later. I thought that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, feel free to make any comments, view them, or pass it on. We'll get the word out there, trying to build that, really just trying to build that community and trade setup, get our name out there so everything helps. Yeah, it would be fantastic if anyone can do that. If you got us on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, feel free to like anything we post there just to get it out and about. Yeah, it'd be much appreciated. And yeah, again, thanks for joining us, and we'll be back on tomorrow. And if you've got anything that you want to have as a topic, send it through to support at tradesetup.com.au as a focus. So today was gold. Yesterday it wasn't that great for me anyway, but it was a focused on a few not tech companies, pharmaceutical. But if there's any sort of topic you're interested in, or something that's it's of concern to you, or anything, just send it through and we'll see what we can do. All right, thank you guys. We'll chat again soon. See you tomorrow. Bye.